A little over a week ago, I was up in Utah for a while and camping with my dog. And there are cattle guards in Utah, of course. And I saw something that you don't see in Arizona, at least they're not common in Arizona. On the paved roads, on the secondary paved roads, the 2-lane roads, there are fences that come from each side of the road. They come together and meet at the road and angle down right to the edge of the road. And then on the paved road are painted black and white lines, about 7 or 8 of them in parallel. And apparently to a cow, they look like a cattle guard. So cows won't cross the painted black or white lines. So I thought that was interesting. I'd seen them before, but I never really remarked on them. And I was just thinking how much we're like cattle. Excuse me, I don't mean to offend, but we are in some ways, right? We know that there are actual real cattle guards, if you will, in our lives. And then, of course, there are painted cattle guards in our lives as well, not to mention painted rice cakes and various other things. So the real cattle guards are in our lives are those relationships or workplaces or situations or Buddhist teachers that are toxic, that can do real harm to us. We are well advised to steer clear of those situations, people in our lives. Sometimes we don't know, of course. You know, I presume that cows learn about real cattle guards because at some point in a young cow's life, they put their hoof, if that's the right word for a cow, they put their foot on a cattle guard and it doesn't feel good. They can feel their ankles start to buckle or twist, and they pull back and say, that's not a good idea. And they're, you know, I don't have any idea how intelligent cows are, but they have enough consciousness to know that I'm not going to do that again. And they avoid real cattle guards. I'm certainly interested in the real cattle guards that each of us confront in our lives. I don't mean to diminish the real risks associated with that, but I'm also interested in the painted cattle guards that each of us have actually created ourselves in our lives. We create them. We make those. On the highways, of course, presumably the highway department paints the painted cattle guards, but we make the painted cattle guards in our own lives. And we won't go across them. We won't do that. And in creating these painted cattle guards, of course, we constrain ourselves and limit ourselves. We may look longingly at the green pasture on the far side of the fence, but we are not going to cross that line to get over there. No way. I know what happens if I step on that cattle guard. We think we know what happens if we step on the cattle guard. I came across a bit of information about the painted cattle guards out west, which is that indeed cows will not, generally speaking, they will not cross the painted cattle guards. They'll happily stay on their side of the fence. But on some occasions, there is a cow. It doesn't say whether this cow does this out of brazenness or incredible insight or out of incredible stupidity, but there is a cow that will come up to the painted cattle guard and put its hoof, let's call it hoof, down on the painted line and go, oh, that's kind of surprising. And then they'll step forward with their other foot, oh. And pretty soon they're on the other side of the painted cattle guard where the grass is greener. The other cows in the field are looking at the first cow going, huh, look at what Betsy just did. Maybe I could do that. So they go up to the painted cattle guard one by one or in groups, and they kind of feel their way across, and soon the entire herd is on the other side of the fence where the grass is greener, and they're having a good time, living their best possible cow life. And I thought that was interesting too, that all it takes is one cow who's either crazy enough or stupid enough, dumb enough, brave enough, insightful enough to cross the painted cattle guard. That's all it takes, it's just one. And if one can do it, then others can do it. We actually don't believe that most of the time. You know, we'll spend a life coming right up to the cattle guard, looking longingly at what it might be like on the other side, and never going across, never taking that step. That's, for me, that's an interesting point of self-investigation. Sometimes I can actually see that I'm holding myself back. I've tied myself into a certain kind of bind or knot, and I don't care what anybody says, I'm just not going to go there. One time I remember reading something about Zen Master Subong, about great doubt. He said, his way of phrasing it was, I don't know if I can do this. And then he said about great faith, but others have done it. And then he said about great courage, so I'll try too. I don't know if I can do this, but others have, so I'll give it a go. And that's the spirit of the cattle going across the painted cattle guard. Probably that first cow said, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, this is not a good idea. But something in that cow caused them to take a step. And then they're on the other side. The others are going, really? Betsy did that? I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. But I'll give it a try. And as each one goes across, then the others feel more confident of going across themselves. And I thought that's actually what Sangha is. We come to the Zen Center, we have lots of ideas about practice, but really we don't know if we can do it. We don't know. And then we spend time in the community and we realize that others are doing it. They're sitting still for 30 minutes. They've learned the chants, they've learned the forms. They give good talks. Their lives seem to be kind of upright and stable. That's kind of interesting because my life's not upright and stable. Huh. And then they stick around, that person sticks around for 15 or 20 years, and their life also becomes upright and stable. So the Buddha talked about Sangha as one of the three jewels, of course. And absolutely right, it is one of the most precious of the jewels. And in fact, I would say without relationship, the others are not even imaginable. We need relationship. We are relational creatures. The cattle guards that we've created that are in our lives, some of them are real and some of them are painted. And particularly the painted ones, while we are responsible for them in this moment, I don't believe that we're responsible solely for creating them. Well, you try it out. You know, the first cow to go across the painted cattle guard tries it out. Oh, that didn't hurt. And they could take another step and pretty soon they've scampered across. I don't know enough about cattle to be definitive about this, but I imagine nearly every cow learns about cattle, real cattle guards, by taking a step. I don't imagine that there's community knowledge about cattle guards that they pass on to one another. Don't go over there because it's dangerous. I don't think cattle do that. I don't have a sense about them in that way. They probably try it out. I would never suggest that we bottle ourselves up in a cocoon and don't go out and test the waters of life. I'm mixing it up here now. Test out the cattle guards. We should go out and find out whether the cattle guards are painted or real. And, you know, sometimes real cattle guards, even though they hurt, maybe it's worth it to go through the hurt.